What if I told you that one of the most powerful weapons of World War I didn't fire bullets, didn't explode, and couldn't be detected by enemy radar? What if I told you this weapon had wings? During the bloodiest conflict the world had ever seen, while generals obsessed over tanks, artillery and gas, entire armies secretly relied on something far older. Pigeons. Yes, pigeons, and not just as messengers, as super weapons. So the question is, why would modern armies, armed with cutting-edge technology, trust the fate of entire battles to a small grey bird? And more importantly, what did these pigeons know that the enemy couldn't stop? World War I wasn't just a war of bullets. It was a war of communication. Commanders needed to know where troops were, where enemies moved, when to attack, and when to retreat. But the battlefield was chaos. Telephone wires were constantly destroyed. Radios were massive, unreliable, and easy to intercept. Messengers on foot were shot. Messengers on horseback were shelled. Information died faster than soldiers. So armies faced an impossible question. How do you communicate when everything that carries a message gets killed? The answer wasn't new technology. It was, well, ancient biology. For thousands of years, humans noticed something strange about pigeons. No matter how far you take them, no matter how confusing the terrain, they always find their way home. Scientists still argue how. Earth's magnetic fields, sun position, smell maps, visual memory. But during World War I, armies didn't care how it worked. They only cared that it did. So the French, British, Germans and Americans, quietly began breeding, training and deploying tens of thousands of homing pigeons. Not as pets, not as mascots, as military assets. Each pigeon carried tiny capsules containing messages. Some carried microfilm. Some flew through artillery fire. Some flew while wounded. And many never came back. Imagine you're surrounded. Your unit is trapped behind enemy lines. No radio, no reinforcements, no way out. You write one last message. Coordinates, enemy positions, a desperate plea. You attach it to a pigeon's leg, hold the bird in shaking hands, and release it into gunfire. This wasn't a story. It happened thousands of times, and sometimes that pigeon was the only reason anyone survived. In October 1918, during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, an American battalion became trapped. Surrounded by German forces, with friendly artillery accidentally shelling their position. Over 500 men faced annihilation. 2 pigeons were sent, but both were shot down. Only one remained, a pigeon named Cher Ami. She was released. Almost immediately, she was hit, shot through the breast, her leg shattered. Yet, she kept flying. 30 minutes later, Cher Ami delivered the message. Artillery stopped. Rescue arrived. Nearly 200 soldiers survived because a dying pigeon refused to fall. Chère Amie lost her leg. She was awarded military honours. A bird outperformed modern weapons. Here's where it gets unsettling. The enemy knew pigeons were being used. They tried everything, shooting them down, training hawks to intercept them, spreading misinformation. But pigeons had one terrifying advantage. They were impossible to hack. No frequency to jam, no code to break, no signal to intercept. Unless you physically killed the bird, the message would arrive. In an age where technology failed constantly, biology proved superior. But messaging wasn't their only role. Some pigeons carried cameras. Tiny, chest-mounted devices triggered by timers. They flew over enemy territory, unknowingly photographing trenches, supply lines and artillery. This wasn't science fiction. This was early aerial reconnaissance, a living drone, powered by instinct. Thousands of pigeons were bred, trained and sent into combat. They didn't enlist. They didn't choose sides. They didn't understand war. Yet they were decorated, honoured and remembered. So here's the uncomfortable question. If an animal can be a weapon, where does responsibility begin? And more disturbingly, what other natural technologies have we ignored simply because they weren't invented in a lab? After the war, technology advanced rapidly. Radios improved, satellites emerged, digital communication took over. And the pigeon? Quietly erased from military history. Why? Because the story challenges a core belief. That progress always means more machines. But World War I proved something else. Sometimes the most advanced weapon is the one evolution already perfected. Today, pigeons still fly above cities, ignored, dismissed, mocked. But once, they carried the fate of nations. So, next time you see one on a rooftop, ask yourself, what else is hiding in plain sight that history chose to forget? Because the most powerful weapons don't always look like weapons at all.